Hi, and welcome to the Prophet's Corner. This is Prophetess Tony Nunn, and today we're going to be talking about the second P for our series, which is perseverance. We're going to kind of delve into different characters of the Bible that I feel represent what it means to persevere, how they did it, and what impact did it have on other people around them. Okay? So the first person that we're going to talk about today is Anna. The prophetess Anna. And the prophetess Anna was very, very devoted to her assignment of praying in the temple. We want to look at her in the Bible. We're going to look at Luke chapter 2. Okay. In Luke chapter 2, verses 36 to 38, in the Amplified, it reads, "There was a prophetess Anna, the daughter of Phanuel, of the tribe of Asher, and she was very old, and had lived with her husband for 7 years, and after her marriage, and then as a widow to the age of 84. She did not leave the area of the temple, but was serving, worshiping night and day, with fastings and prayers. She too came up at that very moment and praised and giving thanks to God, and continued to speak of him to all those that were looking for the redemption, deliverance of Jerusalem. 84 years serving God day and night in prayer and fasting. Anna was from the tribe of Asher, only married to her husband for 7 years before she became a widow. During this time, she stayed in the temple, but served God with fasting and prayer day and night, always giving thanks to the Lord. Anna was only married to her husband for 7 years. Just think. You thought you and your husband were going to grow old together, enjoy your kids and grandkids and great-grandkids, but all of a sudden, you experience the death of your husband. The person you may have depended on has died. But somehow you find comfort and solace in the temple. So she found comfort in serving God in the temple, and she did not stop doing it. You don't skip one day, but you contend until you see the manifestations of your prayers. This is the true essence of what it means to persevere. Anna was from the tribe of Asher, one of Jacob's sons. The very symbol of the tribe is a tree. And when we look at the nature of the tree and what trees represent strength. So she comes from a lineage of people who were strong. Okay, people who did not buckle under pressure or did not buckle because of circumstances that were occurring in their life. She understood and knew that there was a strength within. And as you see, for these 80 plus years, she was able to pull from that strength in order to see the manifestation of her prayers in the temple. Okay? Another person that we want to look at Nehemiah. Okay, Nehemiah, we can go to Nehemiah, the 2nd chapter, verse 18 through 20, and this is in the Amplified. It says, "Then I told them how the hand of my God had been favorable to me, and also about the words that the king had spoken to me. And they said, 'Let us rise up and build.' So they thoroughly supported the good. But then Sanballat and the Horonite, and Tobiah the Ammonite official, and Geshem the Arab heard about it. They mocked us and regarded us with contempt, and said, 'What is this thing you are doing? Are you rebelling against the king?' I answered them, 'The God of heaven has appointed us for his purpose and will give us success. Therefore, we, his servants, will arise and build. But you have no portion, right, or memorial in Jerusalem. His work despised in the land, but Nehemiah kept at it. Okay? Every attack he received, he countered it with prayer. He put his mind on the master, and they kept working on the wall. They schemed and they did everything to hurt him. That's Sanballat, Tobiah, okay, and Geshem. They did everything to hurt him, to stop his work, to impede it, okay, everything in the midst of it all. But he put his mind to continue, okay? And in the midst of this, he continued to ask God to give him strength to complete the work. It took a total of 52 days, only 52, but he endured the intimidation, okay? Our third person is Joseph. Joseph was a handsome young man who was highly favored by his father, but hated by his own brothers, that they sought to kill him. They threw him into a well to die. And then later, he was sold into slavery. Genesis 37:4 says, "And when his brothers saw that their father loved him more than all his brothers, they hated him, and could not speak peaceably unto him. And Joseph dreamed a dream, and he told it to his brothers, and they hated him yet the more. And he said unto them, Hear, I pray you, this dream which I have dreamed. For behold, we are binding sheaves in the field, and lo, my sheaf arose, and also stood upright. And behold, your sheaves stood around about, and made ambience to my sheaf. And the brothers said to him, Shalt thou indeed reign over us? Or shalt thou indeed have dominion over us? And they hated him yet the more for his dreams and for his words. And he dreamed yet another dream, and he told it to his brothers, and said, Behold, I have dreamed a dream more. And behold, the sun and the moon and the 11 stars made ambience to me. And he told this to his fathers and to his brethren, and his father rebuked him, and said unto him, What is this dream that thou hast dreamed? Shall I and thy mother and thy brethren indeed come to bow down ourselves to thee to the earth? And his brethren envied him, and his father observed the saying. Okay. Now, when we look at the life of Joseph, well, first let's go back and look at the life of Anna. When we look at the life of Anna, we want to see how did her perseverance in prayer help us and help her. Okay? So when we look at how her persevering in prayer impact us, it lets us know that when we wait upon the Lord, He will renew our strength. Okay? Just as it says in Isaiah chapter 43, those that wait upon the Lord, He shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with wings as an eagle. They shall run and not be weary, and they shall walk and not faint. So when we see the life of Anna, we see how she continued to persevere. She got strength in it. We know what tribe Asher. She comes from the tribe of Asher. Okay? Their symbol for their tribe is represented by the tree. So we know she comes from a people who are very strong in nature. So as you can see, there's a strength that is resident on the inside of her to do the work of the Father. When we look back in culture and we look back on the life of a widow, usually the family would take care of the widow. Widow didn't have the support. The husband took care of her. But who sustained her? We can only imagine that what sustained her was being in the house of the Lord and being in the presence of God. Okay, so I believe that she found that sustaining power in seeking God day and night, and praying and fasting and sacrificing, I believe there was a reward on the other side for her. Because she did it so long, she saw the reward of it. And the Bible does not tell us, but we can only assume that with doing all of this, she was taken care of. I believe Prophetess Anna, and all that she did in the temple, in the house, she was taken care of by the men and women of God. Okay? So we see as her life, she's a blazing example of what it means to persevere. But in the midst of praying, waiting for the promise, even though the promise doesn't come overnight. Sometimes we want things to happen at the blink of an eye. Anna is a blazing example of what it means to have to wait on the promises of God. Okay? Waiting, just like, not just Anna, but just like Abraham, waiting on his promised chosen seed, and being told in the latter years of his life that I'm going to give you a son. Waiting for that Isaac, okay? And not settling for the Ishmael, okay? Literally waiting on the promises of God and not turning from one place to another. So that's what Anna represents for us, okay? The other person is, we looked at, after Anna, we looked also at Joseph's life, okay? No, Nehemiah's life, okay? And we see Nehemiah, he was intimidated, he was taunted by the Sanballat, Tobiah, Gresham, all these people that came to impede the work that God has already permitted for him to do. Okay, so these were these adversaries, I want to call it. Adversaries that come in, deterrers, distractors, that come in to stop you from doing what God has told you to do already. Okay, how did Nehemiah respond to them? Nehemiah came to a place and he said, okay, I know who has sent me. I know that the king has given me authority to do what I am doing, and I'm going to continue to do it. But then what did he do? He turned around and he said, Lord, strengthen me. See, Nehemiah understood the power of turning to God in times of crises, in times of when feeling drained, and when feeling intimidated, and when feeling as if this thing can't happen because of the naysayers that were in his ear. He knew how to draw to the Lord. And we see as the example with Nehemiah, he drew to the Lord. Lord, give me strength to build. Okay? So we can look at the life of Nehemiah and be able to extract some things even for our own personal life. It may not be building a building. It may be walking out in a business plan. Walking out of whatever teaching or whatever God has told you to do, whether it's going back to school, and you hear the voices and those Sanballats and the Tobiahs that are speaking into your ear, that's telling you something contrary to what you already know God has told you. How do you respond in the midst of that? One of the ways we can respond just like Nehemiah responded, he turned to the Lord and he prayed, give me strength. And as we see the end result of this, Nehemiah was able to rebuild the temple in 52 days. That's a miracle. 52 days. God did not just strengthen him, but he strengthened the workers and everyone that was around him. See, when God has told you to do something, he will bring all heaven to back you up. And we see it even with Nehemiah. He sent every reinforcement. He sent everything that he needed in order to accomplish what he needed to accomplish. That's why it's so important to persevere. That's why it's so important to not throw in the towel and to give up and to say, oh, this is too hard, this is too much. We can look at it even with weight loss or trying to, go into a new adventure or trying to do something that seems so hard. If God said you can do it, if God spoke it unto you and gave you the mind and gave you the vision and showed you that he said, look over there, all of that over there, it's yours. If God has spoken this to you, persevere, contend, continue to go forth until you see the promises of God manifest right before your eyes. Then we can look at Joseph's life. Joseph being hated by his brothers. God gave him a dream, didn't give him another dream. And he doesn't know. He's being there. He wasn't saying it to put it in his brother's face. He was just saying it naively. This is the dream God has given me. Well, we're going to be bowing to you? We're going to worship you? Who are you? Are you better than us? He was only given that dream by God. And we see what happens in the end of that beautiful story. God put Joseph in command. He was second in command. Despite all the stuff that he experienced through his brothers, despite all the hatred and the envy that he experienced, he still believed the word of the Lord. He still believed the dream of the Lord that was given to him. So, beloved, I want to share with you today, do not give up. Do not lose your faith. Do not lose your hope in God. Whatever he has spoken unto you, he is faithful to perform it. Whatever he told you, you will do. Believe God, he will make a way out of no way. And despite all the things that come in the midst of your journey to getting into your promised land, I'm telling you, God is going to destroy your adversary. He's going to deal with every worker of iniquity, every Sanballat and Tobiah that is chasing and dogging your trail. You trust in him and you believe that what he put on the inside of you is going to come to fruition. So this is the importance of never giving up. This is the importance of keeping steady on that path that God has created for you. This is the purpose of persevering and not losing your faith. Amen. So I pray that this bless you. And let me say a prayer today. Father, I thank you for every person that is listening to this video. I thank you, God, that you will give them the ability to persevere despite every single obstacle that is being presented to them. God, allow them not to lose hope and allow them to trust that your word is true. And you're not a man that you shall lie, nor a son of a man that you shall repent. God, I thank you that today your people are cloaked with the new perseverance than they've ever had before. To persevere in love, to persevere in their family, to persevere even on the workplace. God, give them the strength and the ability of what they need to persevere until they see the promises of God, which are yea and amen, to bring them into their expected end. God bless you. Take care.